Welcome to Breakthrough Success. I'm your host, Mark Gabberty, the content marketing expert, bringing you 5 new episodes every week where I and top-level guests teach you how to take your business to the next level and achieve your breakthrough. Hello, Breakthrough Success listeners. I just wanted you all to know before the episode actually starts, I've been working a little bit behind the scenes to give you something really special. So a while ago, I wrote my book, Content Marketing Secrets, which helps people create, promote, and optimize their content for growth and revenue. And I just put the finishing touches together to offer that for free to anyone who is interested. So if you want your free copy of Content Marketing Secrets, all you have to do is head over to markgabberty.com/book. Now, let's jump right into the episode. Part of being a successful entrepreneur is having a successful body. And as one of the guests has said before, you gotta treat your body like you treat your business. And that is something that we could do through the dynamic lifestyle, which is basically transforming your body and health to keep up with your busy lifestyle, and also not just keep up, but also perform better. And who better to talk about that than today's guests? So we have a duo. They are #1 international best-selling authors and are the founders of Dynamic Duo Training, an online exercise, nutrition, and lifestyle consulting business. They have worked with thousands of people online and in person to help them look, feel, and perform better while living the dynamic lifestyle. They are also business coaches who help personal trainers, fitness professionals, and health enthusiasts grow their online fitness businesses. Today's guests for episode 205 of the Breakthrough Success podcast are none other than Chris and Eric Martinez. Chris and Eric, it is such a pleasure to have the both of you on Breakthrough Success.
Mark, thank you so much. And I love the energy that you just brought there, man. So thank you so much for highlighting us. And most importantly, thank you so much for having us on your show today. Eric's going to have to step up the energy and the intros on our podcast now. I'm sipping my coffee. I'm good.
Well, it is a pleasure to have the both of you on the show. And we don't really have that many duos on the show, but it's great to have a duo that has such a focus on a lifestyle where we're focusing on the body, we're focusing on the health, we're focusing on performance, all the really important stuff. And we're obviously going to get really deep into that during this episode, but I'd like to get some background on the two of you first. So can you just share with us a little bit where the dynamic lifestyle just came from, what was the inspiration, and what does the dynamic lifestyle mean to each of you?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So I'll get started with our story, and I'll take the listeners back to 14 years ago. And we were the age of 18, and it was 3 days before Christmas. And we grew up in a picture perfect life with our family. And our father passed away 14 years ago. And I still remember it kind of like it was yesterday. And I felt like I was, having a nightmare, like I was dreaming, but I never woke up from that nightmare that night. And I remember hearing a knock on the door, and it was a California Highway Patrol officer and a chaplain at the door. And usually that's not a good combination at that hour. So I woke up, and I remember just seeing my mom on the floor screaming. And I went to my father's room, and he wasn't there. So I put 2 and 2 together, and they had said that my father passed away in a car accident and died instantly behind the wheel. And he was a correctional officer at San Quentin State Prison. So he was our role model. He was everything to us. And we lost him that night, and it changed our world forever. And I remember, 3 months after that too, we lost our grandmother due to cancer. So it was like a ton of bricks hit my family all in one little, spur. So it's tough. It's been a hell of a journey, battling through, that adversity. And, after that, my mother turned to alcohol and antidepressant pills along the way. And that's how she suppressed her anger and grief and everything that she lost. And I remember we lost a part of ourselves too, because we were young. We had no guidance, no mentors, nothing. We were lost. And the only thing that, really helped us was fitness. That alleviated our stress and anger and everything. So what really kind of just, pivoted our way through, starting Dynamic Duo Training was we hired a mentor by the name of Lane Norton. And he was a natural bodybuilder with a PhD in nutritional sciences. So we were very intrigued by that. After that, we reached out to him to coach us, and we were blessed that he took us on for 5 years and, took us under his wing and showed us all the skills to, get people in shape and do online coaching. And after that, Chris and I had a huge epiphany. We're like, look, there's two of us here where we can serve so many people. There's so many things missing with our coach on the personal aspect of it, and the lifestyle and the mindset aspect of it. So we're like, look, let's start this dynamic duo training thing and really just, take the bull by its horns and serve as many people around the world and change their lives, not only just, physically, but mentally as well too. So that's how we got started with our business. And that was about 7-8 years ago, and we haven't looked back since. And to answer your question about what does it mean to live a dynamic lifestyle, to me, that means, always, being able to sit there and pivot in any type of situation.
It's really amazing how you took a string of tragedies like that and used fitness to, in a sense, cope and get through that time. And now you're helping people to get more fit and live that dynamic lifestyle. So, I mean, there are like a lot of challenges that we have along the way, but obviously, I don't want to speak for everyone, but to have something like that happen is very difficult. I can only imagine, but it's incredible how the two of you have been able to not let that the string of tragedies bring you down and not let that make you give up on pursuing the big dream and just continuing on. I mean, at the start, it's just continuing on, but then the big dream of the dynamic duo training. So that is an amazing backstory. And obviously you guys help a lot with transforming people's bodies, getting them to be higher performing, more energy. But how can we transform our bodies while keeping up with everything else that we have to do?
That's a great question. And I think we have to just kind of circle back to simplicity, right? Simplicity in fitness and physical health is just overlooked. A lot of people think you have to do so many hard things. And the minute they think there's the simplicity behind fitness, they just kind of devalue it, right? They feel like they're not working hard enough. They feel that it's not valuable. And we just have to circle back to just simple rules within fitness, And I kid you not, we've been working with over 1,000 clients the past decade, and the magic always lies in the simplicity of just making things simple, realistic, enjoyable, flexible around your guys' lifestyle. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They're chasing the shiny objects in fitness. They're trying every single fad diet. They're looking for these quick, fixes that they think they're going to just change their physical health overnight. And in all honesty, I mean, it is hard work and it is consistency and adherence over time, but there's a lot of simplicity to it. I think people just really, really make it more complicated than it is. And that's something that we really do with our clients and our community, is just make, fitness, nutrition, just really simple around their lifestyle, their preferences, their goals, and something they can look to adhere to, days, weeks, months, and years on end. And that's why they get results.
And the simplicity, it's something that sounds really easy, but simple doesn't mean easy. It just means figuring out the few things that you have to do. And it could be difficult to be simple, but it's something that is definitely necessary to do. And one of the things that I just briefly want to go back a little bit into that backstory you first shared with us. I mean, it seems like the two of you have a very strong bond with each other. I mean, there's sibling rivalry, a lot of different things that happen, and you had to deal with tragedies, and I can imagine the sadness, the anger, and not having that big leader in your lives, as you mentioned a little earlier. So I'm wondering, how have the two of you kept your bond and strengthened it over the years? I mean, going into a business together and doing an interview together, those are big things that so how have you done that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really like that question. And that's the thing a lot of people kind of don't understand is it's been a hell of a journey, even just keeping our relationship as brothers, you know what I mean? And I think it just all stems back to, we went through this very dark period, which we like to call hell, because it really was from the age 18 to 24. It was just really some dark times of our lives. And I think the reason why we have such a strong bond is we only had each other to rely on. We didn't have our mom because half of her was just mentally not there. We have an older brother, which we love to death, and we have a great relationship with now, but he wasn't present at the moment. He was only 24 years old, and, he was in a lot of pain and anger as well, too. So, we just had each other to really rely on. And I think that's what really built the bond. And, it's kind of like that movie's Bad Boys, where they say, you ride together, we die together, man. That's the type of bond we have, within business, in life, taking risks, rolling the dice, everything like that.
And it is just interesting how you were able to take that moment again, and like it definitely made the two of you better. Now, I mean, like but like it did make the two of you better, and it is always good to see someone taking a negative and the tragedy of that and turning into a positive. And now again with your dynamic duo training, and I did like I like to circle back to the that dynamic lifestyle. So you talked about the simplicity earlier, and that's just getting down to like a few actions to take. But in the end, you still have to get over that hurdle and start taking action. So how do you recommend that we just start taking action once we have the plan laid out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's just kind of, if this is a good teaching point for the listeners. And I think when it comes to finding an exercise or nutrition program, you want to use the acronym called REF, and it's REF. So that stands for realistic, enjoyable, and flexible. If you can't find something that's realistic, that's, built for your lifestyle to where you can sit there and pivot and, take care of all the obligations you have, then it's probably not going to be a good fit. If something's just not enjoyable, whether it's in the context of training or nutrition, then most likely you're not going to adhere to it, right? You're not going to look forward to it. You're not going to work as hard. And then flexibility. Flexibility is key with everything today, especially with how crazy society is, how many responsibilities we have, and we have to be able to sit there and pivot on the go. So I think when it comes to finding a program, you want to literally sit there and just sit down and be like, okay, is this program realistic? Is it enjoyable? And is it most importantly flexible for my lifestyle? And let me give you some real practical examples on what that looks like through like nutrition and training, so your listeners can kind of understand that. And then going back to that acronym REF, I like giving credit where credit's due, and that's 100% to one of our mentors, Eric Helms. So what that looks like in a practical sense for nutrition, let's say, you need to have a realistic nutrition program, right? So if you have a program where, you go off a fad diet and you think that eating 6 to 8 meals because it's going to stoke the metabolic rate or your metabolism, you might be that busy person where you don't have time to eat every 2 hours. So again, that's not realistic. So maybe you need about 2 to 4 meals. It's going to be realistic for your schedule. If we think about enjoyable for like exercise program, right? Say that a coach says, you know what, I need you to go in there and do bodybuilding workouts, powerlifting workouts. And let's say you don't like doing bodybuilding or powerlifting workouts. Let's say you like doing CrossFit or circuit style training. So which one do you think you're going to work harder and adhere to and be consistent more? Probably the CrossFit workout and the other one because you enjoy doing that. So that's you're going to work harder and get better results. Flexibility wise, both with exercise and nutrition. Things come up in life, right? So sometimes you're not going to be able to sit there and stick to, your meal plan. Sometimes you're going to sit there and have to go out and eat, and you're going to have to understand how to just, plan accordingly to that. Same thing with exercise. If you have to get in 5 workouts for the week, sometimes, your schedule gets busy, things come up in life, tragedies, and maybe you can only train 2 to 3 times for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and you got to have to really just, adapt to that. So that's where that acronym, REF, realistic, enjoyable, and flexible plays a huge role within somebody's fitness journey.
I really like the acronym, the meaning, and also the ease to remember the all the words within the acronym, because creating a plan like that is really important. I feel like some people, they create some type of plan for themselves. It's deep, and if they feel like they mess up one thing, the whole plan is done with. And, it's back to square one, and then it gets a little more complex in figuring out how to continue with it next time. But in addition to this idea of having a plan that doesn't work and then having a bad time adjusting to it, not following the REF model, what else do you believe holds most people back from living the dynamic lifestyle?
I think it's just it goes back to like anything else. So if we even use this like in a business context, like when you're an entrepreneur or you're starting a business, we're always taught to know what our big why is, right? What's our big purpose? And I think the same thing goes for fitness, for your fitness journey, and that's what it really ultimately is a big journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, just like business, and it's a series of highs and lows. And I think that if you really sit there and write down what your big why is and why you're doing this, what you want to get out of it, I think it's going to be so much more enjoyable. It's going to be so much more clear, and you're going to stick to that plan. And I think a lot of people they don't know what their big why is when it comes to their fitness journey. Thus, they just get inspired by these huge Instagram influencers, people that are very just genetically gifted. I mean, it's ridiculous with all the social media stuff, to where it's just like, sometimes very unrealistic to certain people's, lifestyles, genetics, level of resistance training. So you really have to understand what your big why is. And, I promise you, it makes it so much easier to follow and just more enjoyable.
And I really like that idea of the why. It's a recurring theme on a bunch of the episodes that I've done on Breakthrough Success. A lot of people come back to that. And it's just so powerful to remind ourselves why we're doing what we're doing, remind ourselves why we started. And that can help us on the journey to continuing a workout regimen, continuing to grow a business, and continuing on our overall journey, even when things seem to get tough. But what can we do to reinforce that why, to build on it so it's not something that we remember in a moment of need and then forget about it, and then we go back to that moment of need where we need to remember the why?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to like kind of just what we're talking about, just what the importance of the why. I think a very practical tip for your listeners, what we have our clients do, the first thing that we have them do before we even get their program started is we have them take like a piece of paper out, and we literally tell them to divide that paper in half and put your why and your purpose, one on the left side, one on the right side, and just do a big old brain dump. Like, why do you want to sit there and enhance your fitness? Why do you want to sit there and enhance your physical health? Why is this so important to you? Right? Because every time that they sit there and they're on that verge of, failing, maybe wanting to quit, something comes up in their life, they can always refer back to that and really realize that the core reason and the crystal clear vision of that why and that purpose behind the fitness industry, that's going to sit there and light another fire underneath them to go back at it and understand that, this isn't a quick fix. This isn't something that is just temporary for weeks. This is a lifestyle. It's longevity. It's about creating a healthy lifestyle and carrying over into your life. And I want to take a moment to kind of even just make this come to life a little bit more too, because if I use one of my clients' examples, her name is Julie, and she's an entrepreneur. She owns an ultrasound technology, software program company. And at first, when she came to me, she was a little bit overweight. She was uncomfortable in her skin. She wasn't confident. So I asked her to write down what her why was. Why does she want to lose, X amount of pounds? And she sat there and said that she just wanted to be more confident and be more presentable when she went to go speak about her product and, do business. And she said, most importantly, it was for her kids as well, too. And after, she wrote that down, it was just so much more clear as to why she needed to get it done and how she just executed the plan. And once she was done, she just felt so great about it, just because she knew what that why was. She knew what that purpose was. And everything was very intentional and clear.
And I really like the idea of writing down all the reasons why, because like if you ask me why right now, or you've asked anyone why right now, maybe we come up with 3 things and then the conversation continues. But when you truly take the time to brain dump everything, you can come up with 20, 30 more. And the more reasons you come up with, the better, because every extra reason does fuel up that why. And another thing that could really fuel us is knowledge acquisition. And that's why I really love hosting this podcast. That's why I also really enjoy reading as many books I could possibly get my hands on and read, while also finding the time to implement. So with books in mind, I'm wondering if you guys could share 3 great book recommendations that you believe have a positive impact on us, as this is 2 people on the show. I don't know if you guys want to do like one of you shares 2, the other shares 1, both of you share 3, or like 2 and 2. However you guys want to do, as long as at least 3 books are mentioned is fine with me.
I think we can come up with 3 books between us. You want to go first, Chris?
You go first. I'm not good at thinking about
All right, Mark. I guess I'll go first. I'm the bigger brother by a minute, anyways. So I think the first one that comes to mind that I really enjoyed was The Magic of Thinking Big, and I believe it's by Dr. David Schwartz. I could be wrong on that, but it's a phenomenal book, and it just really goes back to the basics of how everything really comes down to mindset and just believing in yourself. And I think so many of us, are born with this, just this mindset where it's just fixed, right? Where we should be acquiring a growth mindset as we get older. So I think that book is great because it gives very practical tips on just, how to get outside of your own head. And most importantly, just expand your mindset and really just, be confident in what you're doing. The next one is Relentless by Tim Grover. That's a badass book. Sorry for the profanity, but that is such an awesome book, and it's so applicable to just entrepreneurs, athletes. I mean, everybody. And at the end of the day, he just teaches. He really just emphasized that we're our own worst critics, and we're the only people that limit our true potential in life. And that most of the time fear, it's just a huge imaginary barrier right in front of us, and literally we can step over at any time. So I just love all the principles that Tim Grover puts in that book, Relentless.
All right, Mark, I thought about 3.
No, you just want one now.
Oh, you just want one?
Yeah.
Do whatever you prefer.
Let me give you 2, my top 2 then. So I think the first one is, I think everybody should read the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. That book is just fantastic. I think that should have been our curriculum in high school, if not even younger. The second one is Live Life Aggressively, and that's by an author named Mike Mahler. And he has this whole just theme about just living life aggressively, not being violent or anything like that as far as aggressively, but just taking life with intention and just understanding that you're going to get knocked down and you have to sit there and be just, mentally strong and just, when to get back up, when to keep fighting. So I think those 2 are my top ones.
Chris and Eric, thank you for sharing those great book recommendations. We will have the links to all those books in the show notes, markberty.com/E205. And for anyone interested in a book that will help them create, promote, and optimize your content for growth and revenue, you can grab your copy of Content Marketing Secrets over at markberty.com/book. And before I wrap up this episode, Chris and Eric, I've had the privilege of asking you guys a bunch of questions throughout our time together, but what do each of you believe is one question that we should be asking ourselves more often?
I think the question we should be asking ourselves more often is, why do we play so small in life? Why are we so scared to fail in life? And that's one of the things that I wanted to mention about living a dynamic lifestyle is just not playing small in life. I think the way a lot of us were brought up, and I don't sit there and shame or guilt my parents for this because they didn't know any better. But, I just wish that I was taught to play big and not fear playing small, not take the safety net of like going to college and getting a 9 to 5 job and sticking to one career. And I just think it's so embedded into everybody's brain still to where it's just really, really hard to reverse, So one thing I really say is just, ask that question, am I playing small in life? Because it will literally eat you up every single day if you're playing small in life and if you don't go out there and do that thing that you truly, truly love and you have that burning desire and itch to accomplish. And I think for me, it's, am I being a constant student in all areas of life? And I remember my mentor, Ty Lopez, said, a mind full of conclusions leads to no room for expansion. So I think that as long as we're waking up every day with the intention to be better than we were yesterday and having that growth mindset and trying to learn and be better in all aspects of life, I mean, just think about it a little bit, just getting a little bit wiser each day, 365 days throughout the year, that could be a lot and that could be huge going forward.
Chris and Eric, thank you for taking the time to share both of your questions and all of your great insights throughout our time together. If you guys want to keep up with Chris and Eric, the dynamic duo, you can get their new book, The New Era of Fitness. And the link for that is go.theneweraoffitness.com/free book. That will also be in the show notes as well, markroberti.com/E205. Chris and Eric, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to share all of your great insights with us today. It was such a pleasure to have you both on Breakthrough Success.
Mark, thank you so much. Great questions. We enjoyed it.
Hey, Mark, thanks so much for having us. Really appreciate it, man.
How does over 100 retweets per day sound to you? My free ebook, 27 Ways to Get More Retweets on Twitter, has you covered. I use the methods within this ebook to get over 10,000 retweets every single quarter. To learn